All right, we are back, and Ben from VSL, I'm not sure his position, but he is a representative for VSL, set me straight and clarified that the thing that was happening with the last video that I posted on the Vienna Synchron Strings Elite kind of chorusing, phasing issue in this new slurred articulation was due to an issue with this vibrato crossfade type where senza without vibrato, crossfading with regular vibrato was selected by my sound variation from Studio One from the previous, before the update, Elite Strings. After the update, that got selected. It wasn't really my intention. And the result is that this mod wheel here was kind of in the middle between no vibrato and vibrato, and that was creating the phasing and chorusing that we were hearing. So let's continue our exploration of the slurred legato sound now that that's clarified. I don't even want that. I wanted maybe an espressivo. I didn't really want a vibrato crossfade. I wanted an espressivo with more of a velocity crossfade. That's what I was intending. So we'll do molto vibrato, slurred with soft release, and we'll just continue. We'll kind of start over. We're doing a bit of a reset here. Thank you, Ben, for setting me straight, clarifying, and be careful if you've got sound variations from previous versions of Elite, and you open those and do what we did at the beginning of the last video and just kind of reload the preset. There's different patches you can load. If you load it one and sound variation accidentally picks something that doesn't make sense for you, then all of your mod wheel moves might be creating the problem that we encountered last time, sonically. Okay, so with all that said, we're going to play with the slurred, and we'll also, because someone mentioned it, and we're going to listen to some of the different reverb sounds externally. So let's get into it. And I'll stop there because it's worth commenting. I like some of these. So when it's a second, you usually hear a tiny little. The idea of that this is a slur is it's a tiny little shift, position shift or something. It's definitely different from their previous. I have to change the okay, espressivo, molto, regular, soft. Undo. So this is slurred. It had to load. This is slurred. This is regular. Slurred. Regular. Pretty subtle on major second, first violins, rising line. Now we'll do falling line from F down to C, so a fourth. Regular. And there you hear it more directly. You hear it more. But the people who are saying that this is a portamento, I feel like within the sample world, this falls into that nice sweet spot category. I think they did a pretty good job of hitting that CSS, Vista, Performance Samples Vista, and Cinematic Studio Strings, CSS, elongated legato, slurred legato sound. That's a traditional, I guess, classical legato transition. So you can hear that may be, it doesn't really sound like a bow change to me. It sounds like maybe they let their finger, release the finger, and in the same bow stroke, change notes. First violins up there, that sounds to me, tell me if you think you disagree or agree in the comments. So we've got getting deep in the woods right away. One bow stroke, same direction. One finger is releasing on all these instrumentalists in this section to drop a perfect fourth from F to C. And that's a regular legato. This is the slurred version of that, where you would shift positions or slide that finger down that string quickly, all of the players all at once. And if you want to call that a quick portamento, you can. You know, you talk to the players, and this is what the sound that I want. But from a sample library perspective, the trend has been moving toward calling those slurred, but I'm not aware of a notational way that you communicate on paper to players in the room to get this kind of sound. To me, it sounds too quick to be something that you'd write down as portamento. So if people are calling it portamento, which is down here, then like a fast portamento, sure, it might be colloquially, you might be able to discuss it as a fast portamento, and that might be correct as a way of discussing it, but I'm not sure if you wrote down portamento that that's what you'd get. I think that what you have to have, there's a gap between the technique and the playing and the actual performance of that style, which has become, which the market has been asking for, which doesn't have a direct, I don't think yet, corresponding notational vocabulary, that there's not a vocabulary to write that down yet, unless you just say play slightly slurred, you know, just use a phrase, English phrase, or a phrase of words. So I could make that more, I could change articulations there and have that be a harder attack, but that is the espressivo sound. And the espressivo here indicates the attack. Most of these are vibrato types, but espressivo actually, I think, indicates that there's going to be a soft start and a crescendo into the note as the note plays. And now that we've changed the velocity crossfade to not vibrato crossfade, but just velocity crossfade, and our previous mod wheel setting of 66, which is just above 64, 65, I want it to be just above that middle layer. Now it's doing what I wanted it to do. We're loud in the right loudness. We're in the right loudness area. I did one little dip here in the previous, before the update. Performance, legato, regular, vib. What does all this say? Normal attack. So the normal attack was too abrupt, but I wanted to quickly rise into that. So I'm actually controlling velocity layers now, not vibrato crossfading, which is what was happening before. So that's good. Regular, vibrato, slurred, normal attack. It's sounding all right to me. Let's see what this one says. This is a vibrato crossfade, so we're going to need to change this. This is an accident of having used sound variations from the previous session, and they mapped to a set of articulations in the Synchron player. And once I updated Elite Strings, they are now mapping to a different set of articulations that I don't want. And what I want is espressivo, molto, slurred, soft. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for small interval changes to have a very slight slur, if you want to call that. I mean, this half step is not going to make a big difference. And this larger leap of, again, a fourth is going to have a larger slide, but a very quick one. So yeah, go ahead and correct me if you think that that is always going to be called a portamento for players, and you're going to write down portamento to make that clear. I just think that portamento would be more exaggerated if you wrote it down that way, and you'd have to put something more subtle in the indication, saying play with gentle slurs. You know, I don't know. You'd have to say something to the players, maybe just talk to them, to describe how to achieve this effect that we're getting. You could do something like romantically or sweetly, and the players might just do it. So there you go. I mean, I think we've kind of gone through enough of the intervals. We're in this particular range of the violins. Let's stop there and pick a slightly lower part of the range and just move over to violins 2. Now here we're just doing espressivo. Let's go back to slurred. Okay, so what we have to do here with violins 2 is load the preset. Wait, let's get our mix. We did something with the mixer, so I think we might have adjusted some of the panning. Let's reload those second violins now that we've updated to Synchron Strings Elite. All right, and paste our mixer settings. And now that you'll see it's got this senza vibrato crossfading to a regular vibrato as the selection that it's decided that we want, but that was never what we wanted. What we wanted was espressivo, molto, slurred, soft. So now note our mod wheel is down lower. So we're back at mod wheel controlling, velocity. And we're back where I had it when I was doing the original kind of mix, rough mix of a rough set of random chords. So the violin 2s are much quieter, and they're doing more of a harmony here with the first violin. Not a harmony. I think this is largely, let's see, not all octaves. Some of them are harmonies. Yeah, some of the, yeah. So it changes. Nice. I'm really happy with that. You may or may not be. I think that's a great response to people asking for a slurred legato, and I think that I really applaud Vienna Symphonic Library for taking the time to expand the feature set of a product that we've already purchased and adding an articulation that, kind of conjuring it out of nowhere and saying here that we're going to call it slurred legato, and it's a very quick portamento style slide that has that dramatic, weepy, romantic sound that's a little bit more saccharine. It's a little bit more, it's cheesy, but it's beautiful in context. You don't have to use it as all the time like I am. Certainly, I think a lot of people would respond to what they're hearing and say, oh, please use it more sparingly. Don't use it all the time. So I'm not trying to say you should write like this and use it all the time. I'm trying to hear it in various intervals, and then I'll decide, maybe most of these will become regular legato, fingered legato. That's much quicker, and I'll use this more sparingly. Right now I'm just trying to hear it as it goes up, as it goes down, as it's a minor second, major second, perfect fourth, larger leaps. This is a D down to a G. This is a fifth. Well, that doesn't sound like much, but if we were going up, I bet we'd hear it. Not so much. Maybe we're too low in the range. Here's a better example. Let's go back to the first violins. Yeah, there you go. You got that nice big slide. You got a nice fifth, fourth, and you got that nice slide. Pretty dramatic. Yeah, you don't have to use that all the time. So exploring the library a little bit more, let's move on to the cellos. I'm going to skip the violas. I think the violas are all shorts in this sketch. So cellos. We don't want that one. We want espressivo molto, slurred soft. I don't see any crossfades in there. Okay, let's try this. So cellos enter a measure late. First time playback, it has to load the articulation, and the second time it'll make sound. Now, I'm not expecting a slur there. I probably didn't even write one. Yeah, I specifically didn't even try to get a slur during that one. If we do, I don't even know what we'll hear. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, I mean, what's the point? Because you want to switch strings with that big jump. So this is doubling the basses. And I'm doing that because the basses don't have as much definition. Definition is a word. I don't know. It doesn't have the sound that I'm looking for in this part of the piece, in this part of the register of frequencies. That's what I'm looking for. So I want the cellos doubled. And then I need the cellos to jump. But I can end this sooner to be a little bit more realistic. Like, they wouldn't actually play that way. They'd probably go, and the cellos would say, bye-bye. I'm going to start up here. Check this articulation just to make absolutely sure. I'm in performance legato, and I'm in... Why am I in regular vibrato? Wouldn't I want molto vibrato? Slurred? Soft release? Normal attack? So I think a lot of these are going to have to change. I don't know why I would have picked... Now we're even louder. And I think I turned this up during the last video. Now that's obnoxious. So that's what we mean by too much slurring. And it's because these intervals are all, we're outloading triads, we're making larger leaps more often. These are thirds. I mean, I tried to make little phrase markings, 4 notes at a time, 3 notes at a time, but still, this is ridiculous. I mean, that's too much for me. The violins, I was okay with. A lot of them are seconds, they're longer tones, but for such a melody, I think I would want to choose my slurs more carefully. Let me think. And we talked in the last video about how this note was coming in early because I was doing a nice big portamento up into it. So this used to be, I think, more of a portamento. Now it's called legato agile, but I believe I was down in portamento before. So these are all remapping. Molto. Let's do espressivo, actually. Molto soft. Had to load it. Why is it so quiet? Because it's espressivo. No, we don't want espressivo then. We need espressivo again has we'll do a molto soft. So that was fast. Now what I meant was soft. Okay, now that is a portamento. I don't think it's a gliss. I think it's a port. Alright, so now I've not stopped the slurs other than starting new phrases. So it's 2 or 3 notes at once, not 4 notes now. Again, partly because I'm influenced by the sound of Vista, and to some extent the sound of CSS, but mostly because Vista just nails this very sweeping, slurry, whooshy-gooshy sound. I really want to hear how far I can push Vienna toward that for this experiment. It's awkward. Let me think. So now I have to think about how I want to hear this melody. Let me not do slurred. Let me do regular. That was loading. Now we're gonna play it. Okay, let's do normal attack. Have to load it. Now we'll play it. So how would a cellist? I mean, let's actually do this the second time through because this is a more interesting part of the piece. That is this. Honestly, I'm not ashamed to admit this part sounds more like just corporate music. This is the piece. This part is a little more interesting. What have we got here? This auto speed slur I don't remember selecting, so I think that this got changed too. So performance legato, espressivo, molto. We'll do slurred, but we'll do soft release. Let's see what this sounds like. No, that does not sounding right. Espressivo doesn't work. Molto, slurred, soft release, normal attack. Let's try that. No, it's just not enough. I am going to go all the way down to portamento. Molto, normal, molto, soft release, but normal attack. I mean, I like that for this line. It's the only thing that keeps it interesting. Is this normal? Normal attack. Sounds like we hear there a slur there? Feels like I'm slurring up into it. I guess it's just the attack. These portamentos. So these are actual portamentos to me. And that's the difference. I think they had a nice sweet spot between portamento and slurred, and between portamento and traditional fingered legato. By doing this slurred legato, that's a quick portamento. That's real portamento. That's real portamento. It does sound a little portamento-y, now that I think about it. Maybe normal attack isn't even enough. Maybe I want it to be more aggressive. Maybe I want it fast attack. These shorter. Now I feel like I feel like a little bit more liberated with this package now that this intermediate articulation exists and is easy to access. So I'm liking that it's there. Now I feel like I can start playing with it and trying to perform it and construct my lines. I am a person who likes to work with a player, in this case a virtual player, to go, no, more like that, more like this. I had a teacher that made fun of me for this. So not everyone is in favor of this. Some people just want you to hear it, write it, they will play it, you're done. And that's great. Not where I'm at right now. I don't know that I've ever exactly been there. I like this process of more like this, more like that, more like this, more like that. I mean, it'd be interesting to hear that in the context of the rest of the piece, because it's a bolder statement that way. Now, none of those were traditional fingered legato. So let's unsolo it and see what it sounds like a little bit in this section of the piece. We can back up a touch. We'll go back. Where are those B flats? Here's the B flat. Here's some B flats. So that's making me feel like I need to work on the articulations. These cyan blue velocity layers of the viola, because to get that kind of harder attack, I would want to continue. There's a slight growth here of the velocity layers. I'm keeping everything as static as possible because I'm trying to see how I can save time, create convincing quick pieces out of this product with minimal effort, to be honest. And I don't know that I would ever actually send this to a publisher. I don't think I would. I don't think I ever have. What I'm trying to do is spend a little time here at how dull does it sound when I make the expression modulation velocity as dull as possible. How dull does it sound? Does it sound like people playing it if I make interesting notes? And that was part of the purpose of this set of random chords. So what can we get out of these packages quickly as media composers? Because that's where I'm at right now. That will allow us to make convincing pieces and also spend our time on writing new notes. Yeah, I think I could work on that quite a bit more. It's a little discontinuous. The starts and stops are a little too obvious. They don't create the emotional flow that I'm looking for. It's close. It's closer. Now this is why I think I had that earlier, so that it would land on the beat. Some of my sweetening back in. So I had a little bit of soothe on the basses. I think I need espressivo, but we'll see. Regular, slurred, soft release. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. First time doesn't play, it loads, and the second time it plays. Looks like I enabled soothe on the master, which I probably didn't mean to do. Well, these don't sound super slurry, do they? But it's a bass. You know, what are you going to do? It's a bass. I like it. I think that's fine. I think that's perfect for this style. It's a nice, gentle, connected sound. If we stop using the word legato and start using the word connected, then it's fine. It's good. It's nice. I like it. It's maybe not classical. You know, I think that Vienna's, VSL's kind of a defense or argument for not having this in the first version iteration of the product was that this isn't a classical articulation, which is fine. People wanted it if they were doing maybe a different style. So as it pertains to this style, yeah, I think that this, again, fits the bill. This is kind of, sounds pretty good to me. Now, I do not police legato, so some people might have a different opinion, and I'm happy to participate in the conversation as a informed bystander. But I like exploring these things and learning about them. I don't think this sounds bad. I think this sounds like a great attempt, at least, and execution at best of this style, considering the library that they had already recorded. This is a scripting win, honestly. So here's the piece again. There's another video with this, with the notation and comparing the basically same piece with tableau chamber strings from orchestral tools. But this is the Vienna Elite Slurred Legato version. Ready? I don't dislike the Elite basses. I just think that they have not made an attempt to keep the basses artificially limited. So I'm doing that because that's an aesthetic choice that I prefer. In my background, the bass should stay consistent in a song, and the highs should increase over the duration. It was built by, as I understand, one of the key guys behind Lexicon. I've started with this fat vintage Hall 2 wide for a lot of my work recently. I tend to change the reverb time and the mix levels because I use it as an insert where I'm mixing with it. Obviously, you would want to turn off, not obviously maybe, but you probably want to turn off reverbs from Vienna so that you're just starting with the mics and not added artificial reverbs. And then you may want to pick different mic selections, but let's start with something like this. I tend to stay in the 20 to 30 range usually. That might be a little long for most people. Let's solo the viola. That's fine. Still getting that distortion. low end just bothers me, but that's R4. Sounds pretty good. Another, I don't have a lot of the popular reverbs, to be honest. Cinematic Rooms, I think, is a good one. Liquidsonics has been doing some great stuff out here. Valhalla has some great reverbs, apparently. But one of them that I do have is Little Plate, and that's because I have the Sound Tools package. So let's just check out Little Plate real quick. So mix, obviously, and we probably want a low cut. Sounds awesome. I usually like this mod. I'm going to take this down a little bit. Yeah, that sounds great. So R4 again. Little longer. Little Plate. I mean, that's my aesthetic. You can see how quickly I dialed in Little Plate to do almost exactly what R4 was doing. That's what I like to hear. And if you like to hear something different, then obviously dial in something different. But I think it's telling that I pulled those two totally different products up. One is a plate and one is not supposed to be a plate. This is more algorithmic kind of. It's got all this stuff going on, and they sound very similar. Now, VerbSuite is from the Slate. It is also a liquidsonics thing. And what I would go for here would be, I pick the unit, and I can do the bricasti, halls, 2 to 5, large hall. And then take the decay down. I really want to adjust the pre-delay about a few. Okay, so gain, I'm going to pull the gain down. I'm also going to take the lows down. Now, first of all, let's just check something. If we do 100% dry, just confirming the EQ doesn't do anything to the dry signal. It just does something to the wet. So I'm going to take the low all the way down. Dial in the reverb and then bring the lows up. So I don't know what the crossover is, but I don't feel like I need any lows based on that quick listen. All right, maybe a little. So you can hear where my aesthetic is. That's how I dial in a reverb. You may want a totally different sound. Another one that is fun to play with is this guy. So I like starting with the Hall of Fame and taking this time down, taking the dry wet down. I've done, I think, in my soundbed versions is I was emulating VSS3, and I was doing these large warm hall kind of attempts. So I've got these different kind of EQ scoops that I was kind of going for. I mean, that's nice too. That's kind of a different thing. You know, it's a little bit lusher and richer. So I've got all these. I demoed VSS3 and just wanted to see if I could get close to it with some of these other versions. Ridiculously long, though. So you get a lot of cool sounds out of some different reverbs if you are interested in mucking about with that kind of thing. We'll again go no reverb. The R4 as I dialed it in. You can hear a little bit of low end buildup that I'd have to address. Then little plate as I dialed it in quickly. Same low end buildup. Sorry, I talked over the tail. Now, VerbSuite Classics with bricasti. The only reason the low end wasn't building up as much is because I've got the gain down 3 decibels in the output. And then HReverb from Waves, an algorithmic that has a lot of fun, cool things to play with. I'm going to go back to this almost 3 where I was mucking about and take that down to something like this. So there you have it. We've got Elite Strings, Slurred articulation, new update with a few different reverbs and a lot of extra content of me blabbering about random topics. Enjoy. I hope you have a great time exploring Vienna Ensemble Elite Strings. Take care.